Okay, so we are starting off our real talk today with one of my very best friends, and she's an amazing woman. If you know her already, you know how special she is. This is Amee Gleave. She's a writer. She's been written about and written things for different columns and different publications. She's owned a brick and mortar store. She runs an online social retail business. But my favorite thing about her, and the reason why this was just such an amazing person to start this E-series with, is she's well known really all around. She's spoken internationally and here in the States for helping women find their purpose and profit from their passion. And that sentence should just get you excited, right? That somebody is willing to help you dig through the layers, find out what makes you tick, and then help you be able to profit from really living your life and being set on fire with passion. So welcome, Amee.
Thank you.
To Real Talk.
What a privilege to be here.
I'm so excited to be doing this. We are just working out some of this online thing, and I just want to share with you guys, I'm in New York and Amee is in Utah, and you know, we feel like we're just with one another right now, and technology used properly is so amazing. It's so powerful, and I love to even share that with my kids. Used improperly, it could be dangerous, but used properly, how we could really connect with people. And I'm so excited to have this time with you. So today we're going to talk for women all over who are really, maybe they've already found what they're excited about. Amee's been doing this for a long time. How long have you been in the profession that you're in right now?
Oh my gosh. I would say I've probably been an entrepreneur all my life. I don't know at what point I recognized it, right? I was always thinking there's a better way to monetize this or capitalize on it, or make money easier than the way I was making money. So, oh my gosh, speaking, marketing profession, all of that stuff, I'd say 7 or 8 years probably.
But even before that, you owned a brick and mortar store, like 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my gosh. I actually started it at the age of 19. So definitely retail, connecting with people. At the time, you know, as we're going through the process, I didn't realize that I was building a network with all the relationships and friendships. And that's kind of what I do now is teach people how to build a network, and how valuable those networks are. But I didn't realize I was doing it at the time. But yeah, it's always been in my blood to be an entrepreneur.
Oh, that helps me roll into my first question. One of my first questions that I love to ask people when I'm getting to know them is, what were some of the dreams or thoughts that you thought you maybe would become when you grew up, when you were a little girl?
Oh my gosh. You know, it's kind of crazy because this profession put me in a place of dreaming. And I actually don't ever remember dreaming really that big. I came from a very sparse, scarcity mindset, family, things like that. And I don't remember big dreams, right? But looking back now, I remember as I developed talents and was recognized for them, how much it spurred that spark in me to want to do it more. I always wanted to be a decorator and a designer. I love decorating homes, and I love fashion. I love things like that. But I realize now it's kind of, you know, helping people design their life, or living life by design. We talk about that often instead of default. So I would say it's always been in me to be a designer.
That is really awesome. I love that play on words. You know, you do definitely live a life by design, and to be able to help people design their life, you know, it brings to mind one of my favorite quotes, which is, if you don't design your life, you're going to fall into someone else's design or plan for it. And guess what they have planned? Not much. So it's incredible that you speak into people's lives and that you contribute to them in that way. But being a designer, that's a really cool thing to want to be when you grow up. What are some of the ways that you continue to find inspiration in your own life, especially for someone who's pouring out so much? How do you continually find inspiration, or where do you pull it from?
Well, obviously, number one, environment, your tribe. Girlfriend, you inspire me daily. I mean, I've had the opportunity to get in your head, and your juicy brilliance, like, just ignites me. I mean, we talked about it one day. You're like, what happened to you? And I'm like, a phone call with you. Really keeping your tribe close and masterminding with women like you is hands down one of the things that inspires me and sparks me to go bigger, develop more, use my talent. I will also say, obviously, the most important thing in my life is my children, and they inspire me every single day. Just today, my daughter is actually done with basketball, and she is starting, it's her first day at high school practice prior to softball tryouts. And I learn from them everyday experiences, but it was a great reminder to me. I'm like, remember to show up. Remember who you are. Remember your coaches are watching who you hang out with. Remember your attitude is everything. I want you to be the biggest softball lover in that room. I want you to be intentional about your relationships. And girl, I remember a time when, what's that?
Her, it's almost like you're teaching her that she's the brand, right? She's her own brand. Somebody's
Absolutely.
always what you're doing and what you're saying.
Right. And I also get inspiration from things they go through. I'm like, that is no different than me in my business and me in my relationships, the things we're going through. I think children give us the opportunity to see it a second time around, you know, and be like, wow, that's why we went through that. So I wish somebody had told me, who you surround yourself with matters. The way you show up matters. The way you shine the light on others matters. Never dim somebody else's candle so that you can shine brighter. All these things that come through what they're, you know, my kids are in adolescence right now. So definitely an inspiration. Also reading, and obviously my tribe, who I surround myself with.
So that's wonderful, because that was my next question. Actually, what are one of your favorite books?
Oh my gosh. When I get asked that, I'm like,
there's so many
of books. It's crazy because would you believe that I have never, ever read a book in my life until 7 years ago. And now I am like a book addict. People say I traded my shoe addiction for my book addiction, but it doesn't matter if I am using Audible or downloading it on to my computer, or just, I love bookstores. I love the feel, the smell. I love to buy books based upon how they feel. Like I kind of rub the cover and like,
that's I would say I love hardcover books. Even though a soft cover is easier for me to read, but I love a structured book by how it feels too.
I love the way it feels. So I would say if I had to choose one that absolutely changed me was The Magic of Thinking Big. And there's so many powerful things from that book, but I think the biggest thing is it put me in a process of anytime something came my way. I learned this from this book. How would an important person handle this? How would my girl from New York handle this, right? Like people that are successful, you know, you hear, you know, the people will say, what would Jesus do? Or the bumper sticker. Right. So I will always put in place somebody very important, somebody that has what I want, has the qualities, how to handle situations. And I think, what would they do? And a lot of times, yes, they would still have bad days. Yes, they would let things influence them. But you know what? They wouldn't let it bother them for a week. That week they turned into a day, to an hour, to a minute, right? I still get upset. I still let people, you know, pee in my puddle is what I guess you'd call it. I just don't let it bother me for an entire week, right? I let it bother me for maybe an hour and then I'm done with it. So favorite book, Magic of Thinking Big.
I have never, ever in all my days heard that expression, pee in my puddle. That is
you always are teasing.
We are being live and we're being recorded. I was going to say ruffle my feathers, but yeah. Puddle, there you go. You
puddle. Dip from your bucket, you know. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that one I've heard. I know that you've spoken all over, and obviously this eNet series is so fun because I get to do it with so many people that I love and respect, but some that I have such a close relationship with. And I, like Amee said, I've spoken to her many times, and she speaks really all over the world. She was just flown and did a European tour, and it was just such an incredible thing to see her on stage. I'm so sorry. and living out her dream. But the truth of the matter is, I know that you still get a little nervous when you're going to head on stage. So what are some of the things that you do to cope with nervousness right before you have public speaking?
So I'm always nervous. And sometimes somebody gave me the ownership of, if you're nervous, it means you care. So whether that's the truth or not, I own that. And I'm okay with being nervous. But I will tell you this. I say, get out of your head and into your heart, Amee. I say that over and over to myself. And we have to realize at times when I'm really nervous, it's because I'm worried about being judged by my peers or messing up or not impacting the crowd the way I know that I'm able to, or deliver what I'm there for. And a lot of times that's about me and not about what I'm really there for. So getting out of your head and into your heart is something I say over and over. Sometimes I listen to myself and sometimes I don't. But I like to imagine that I'm speaking to the most coachable, hungry, new person in the room, the person that is here to say, Amee, I promise you I'm listening. If you have something that can help me advance in my career, in life, help me with my family, my confidence, I am here and I am open. And when I focus on that person, like my last event, her name was Gina. She's actually a real person and a dear friend of mine, but I knew it had taken her everything to get to that event. I knew that she was coachable, had her notebook, and was like so life into me. And so it was very easy for me to speak to her instead of worrying about maybe the people of influence in the room that may be judging me for, say, my weight or what I was wearing, or that I talk with my hands too much, or, all those crazy things that get in our head. So speaking to the newest person in the room who is there to receive has been huge for me.
Wow, that is such a powerful thought. And, even just repeating it over to yourself, like get into your, get out of your head, get into your heart. Those things, I feel like when you get on, you're like, like a firecracker, you just start. So it's wonderful to be able to get into your head and to hear what you're telling yourself, because I know from public speaking that if I focus on the biggest person in the room or the person that I have the most respect for, then, sometimes our own self as women, we kind of will retract a little, and instead we should just shine brighter.
Yes.
So thank you for that.
Yeah. Hey, I've got to share this real quick on here. You and I share a personal mentor, and he spoke these words to me one day, and it changed me forever. But I coach it and I teach it, but at times I find myself not living it. And one of those is accepting compliments. And one of the things after being at an event, like when I was in Europe, people were lining up to speak with me, to tell me their story, to take a picture with me, all of these things. And at times I tend to deflect a compliment, meaning if Gina was to come up to me and say, Amee, that was so incredible. I loved the way you shared this. And do you know that when I was younger, this happened? And a lot of times I was deflecting those compliments and saying, no, thank you. I could have done better. I got messed up, or I was always deflecting the compliment. And he said, I need you to ask yourself why you're doing that. But he said, I've heard it before, but the way he said it to me, girl, is he said, did you ever think that compliment is not about you?
Wow. That's so good.
I was like, whoa. So they're coming up to share the connection they had, the movement. It doesn't matter if I was good, bad, better, like they're connecting their heart, and the compliment is not about me. And I was taking that away from them.
Wow. That is really, really powerful. And he's so amazing. So I'm excited to have him on too, coming up soon. My next question is a little bit of a tough one, so you may have to dig a little deep.
Okay, bring it.
Think of your biggest failure thus far. It can be in relationally, business, financially, and what was the takeaway from that season of your life?
Okay, so this is what comes to mind. My biggest failure has happened more than once, and it is that I've allowed myself to be controlled by my lower ego, by We hear a lot about ego. Well, I don't know about you, but I used to think ego was that real like cocky, arrogant guy that walked in the room. They're like, I had always heard, oh, look at that cop. They're so egotistical. I thought that meant you were better than people. And well, actually finding out what ego is, the highest form of ego is when you care so much about what other people think of you. And that's where your focus is. Another mutual friend of ours recently shared with me a book they were reading about your higher self and then your ego self, which is your wounded self. And it was I really comprehended that, because when I'm speaking or acting in ego, it's my old wounds, right? Someone's hurt me in the past, so I'm worried they're going to hurt me again. Or I've failed at this, so what if I fail again? Well, I would say my biggest failure is letting my ego win, letting my wounded self assume things, assume that there wasn't enough to go around. Or do you know the woman that's on the Chelsea? She's Chelsea lately.
Chelsea Handler.
Yes. Okay. So have you seen her video? It's called
Before she got her show.
Yeah. So she has a video, I think it's for young girls. It is so unbelievable. It's called My Turn. So in a nutshell, she's been doing comedy for like 5 years, right? And they go to this Saturday like showcase where these agents are. Well, she tells one of her best friends, you are so funny. You've got to do this. Girl, you need to be in front of people. And she encourages her to come to this event and do stand-up. Well, the agents there, she just knew they were going to call her to move on to a bigger show. Well, the agents actually called her friend.
Wow.
And her friend called her, like me calling you or you calling me. And she was like, Chelsea, they want me to sign with them. Da, da, da. And she's just sitting there like, wait a minute, girlfriend. She's not saying this, right? But I'm the one who invited you. I was here first. I was like, all these things, these that we battle in our head. Well, she says she was swallowing her pride, her ego, and congratulated her. And she called a friend and said, this is killing me. How did this happen? And she said to her, jealousy is okay, but it's only okay for you to talk to one person about it, not to that person. You did the right thing. And there's room for everyone. I think she says something along the lines of no one has what you have, and it's not your turn, or it's so powerful. And she even says the same thing. I learned I'm not going to have a brighter candle by dimming others, but it is such a powerful video. We'll have to share it.
We'll have to share it. When we share this, we'll look and we'll put a link under that. That brings me a thought before I give you my next question. There's a book called Girl Code that I've read, and that's the premise of the book, that there's enough for everybody and that you're the magic sauce, right? Nobody can be just like you. Amee and I are aligned in many places. Even our husbands are contractors. There are so many similarities, and yet we have so many unique differences. But Amee loves empowering women, and I also have a passion for that, except when you show up to see me, you get a little bit of a different taste than when you show up to see Amee, because both of us have learned to show up as our authentic self. And if I showed up in the room trying to act like Amee Gleave, I would fail every time, because God only made one Amee. And my tagline on a lot of things is be you. Everyone else is already taken. I had to, being the youngest, I have a big family, and I had to learn that. And, I encourage every woman who's, watching this, who's going to watch this or share this, to figure out what it is that makes you tick. That's what Amee's talking about. There's enough for everybody, and really realizing that and moving from that place, moving forward from that place, it gives you so much power, doesn't it? I mean, It just helps you feel empowered. That's the right word.
I love that. I love it.
So my last question before we close is, what is the single most important quality for a leader or an entrepreneur to possess? I know that there are so many, but what do you think would be at the top of Amee Gleave's list?
Oh, hands down, the number one quality is the ability to be resilient, or resiliency. And that is like the capacity to bounce back fast, the ability to be flexible, right? You hear, I had heard it recently or seen it posted, I think it said something like marry the process, but divorce the results, or stay focused on your goal, but be flexible about how you get there. Do things like, what would Alexandra do in this situation? Like when you get off in a ditch, are you really getting yourself back fast and surrounding yourself with the lifters instead of the leaners? Resiliency is important, and especially as a leader. And guys, we're all leaders, whether you're called to lead in your home, your church, a large organization, in business, empowering massive amounts of women, whatever it is, we're all leaders, and leaders have to be resilient. They have to be resilient. Doesn't mean go with the flow. Resilient means the capacity to expand or contract or make decisions quickly, or what right or wrong. Always keep moving forward. So I would say hands down, that's it. And then I would also share that any skill can be learned. My husband, your husband, they were not always contractors, right? My husband learned a skill, and I think you can do anything you want to. I joke about this, but I am the least athletic woman on the planet. I'm the loudest woman in the stands at my girls' games. But if I had to, I could learn how to be a coach, right? I mean, that's what I do. And I help coach people in other areas of their lives. But if I had to, I could physically get on the field and learn the playbook and do what it takes, if that's what I needed to do. And so the same applies with business and success. Just be willing to learn. Be willing to never stop learning, and realize that failures are just learning lessons, right? It's either a teacher or a tormentor. Most of us focus on, this is so tormenting. Why me? My life is this. In actuality, we have to embrace that and say, wow, this must be massive. What's this here to teach me?
Oh, I love that. I love just that one thought. Why is this in my world?
Yeah.
Here to teach me. Amee, I love you. You already know that. And I love that you spend this time with us today. And we're going to have you on, I'm sure, many, many more times. And, the real whole reason behind doing this series is so that women can see all other women from all walks of life, from all over the states and internationally, really finding out what their passion is, what their destiny is that was placed inside of them, and serving it to the world. And I feel like when I first met Amee, the thing that I loved about her, and if you talk to any of her friends, they'll say the same thing, is that when she's with you, she makes you feel like you're the most important person in the room. That's a special quality that somebody has, right? Because she has already shown up authentic, being herself, and so she can see you for who you are. But like she said, those are things you can work on. You have to remove some of the distractions when you're around people and let them feel like you're important. If I was on this call right now and I was talking to someone over there, or I was scrolling through Instagram while Amee is speaking, I wouldn't be able to really show up and receive what she's telling me. So my encouragement to every woman who's watching this and every person who sees it is, take the time when you're in someone's presence to show up for them and to show up for yourself, and do the work. Do the physical work that it takes to sit down and write out your dreams and write out your goals. And you know what? Those are going to expand and grow as you do. So thank you again, Amee. I love you.
Oh, girl, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to be on every one of these series. I'm so fortunate to be a part of just the masterminding that's going on in your head recently. You are so brilliant. You are so authentic. You are so fun, and you are so real. You always tell it like it is. It doesn't matter if it's something about what I'm wearing, where I live, next level of business. I love you because you tell me the truth, and you are one powerful woman. So I want to be the one that gets to interview you. I know you have got a lineup of people that you're going to talk to, but I want to be the one to do that. I want to pull it out of you. So Thank you for having me. I'm so honored.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you, girl.
Soon.